Well, good morning to you, and thanks so much for waking up with us on this Monday, September 11th. I'm Tracy West. Let's go straight to meteorologist Bill Quinlan.
All right, we're tracking Irma as it continues to weaken significantly since earlier last night, and then overnight tonight we have seen wind gusts in excess of 60 miles an hour in a number of places in north central Florida. Tropical storm force winds have also stuck around for a while. Center circulation to the east southeast of Cedar Key at this time. We're going to continue to move off in that direction just to the west of I-75 and continue to weaken because it remains onshore, so it's lost its center of circulation for the most part. Nothing on the backside of the storm, and you'll notice the rain bands moving off towards the north and the west with time. Still some gusty winds out there. We're going to be dealing with that for a few more hours, but on the backside, it's actually relatively quiet. But we're not done with the threat. Tropical storm force winds could still wrap around this system later on in the day, and we're seeing some of the flooding threat out there as well. Stop this and show you what's going on with the flood potential. We do have a flood warning for areas of Columbia County back into Alachua County, and also areas of Bradford and Union County, a little bit more towards the east. Another flood advisory here for Putnam and Clay County until 7:30, and Marion County. Even though the rain is just about over with there, may some low-level clouds and a few sprinkles, but that flood advisory in effect until 7:15. So the rain chances are diminishing. The winds are going to stay with us, unfortunately, through, I think, the rest of the day. But as far as the significant threat of hurricane force winds, that is diminishing quickly. Just a few of the bands well back out towards the east, heading out to Jacksonville, and maybe this one batch here moving through areas of, I'd say, northern parts of Alachua County, northeast parts of Alachua County, moving into Bradford County near Stark. That'll probably be the biggest threat for the winds for the next couple of hours, and then we'll see things diminish for a bit and then more return flow with the winds building back in across north central Florida. We've been watching the storm all night long, and we're going to watch it through the morning hours. And Mike Potter is here with the chance to see what's happening with the storm and where it's actually going to go, and hopefully what the winds are diminishing potentially out there over the next couple of hours.
Thank you, Bill. That looks like a good possibility. It's going to take a while for those winds to wind down across northern Florida, but obviously the rain, the heaviest of the rain, which we dealt with all day on Sunday and early this morning, bulk of it now beginning to head farther to the north. There's those flood warnings, one and it's in effect until 8 o'clock this morning for Alachua County, and these continue northward because of all the heavy rain we've seen overnight, and we expect an additional rain, but that overall trend will be decreasing over the next few hours or so. Still seeing some fairly strong winds, 35 sustained at Cross City, 29 sustained at Gainesville, but the wind gusts have been in the 40 to 50 mile per hour range here within the last few minutes or so. An east wind at 46 at Gainesville, 49 at Cross City, 43 at Lake City, though in the previous hour we had wind gusts between 50 and 60 miles per hour. Though overall the trend towards wind is still going to be with us, but diminishes with time. Possibility of tornadoes, tornado watch in effect till 11, but I think that threat begins to shift farther northward as the storm center, which is out east to east-southeast of Cedar Key, as that works its way farther northward. Along with it will be the bulk of the tornado threat. That begins to shift eventually up into southern Georgia. Here's the wider view of the satellite and radar information, and you can see the rains spreading across the Florida peninsula. This storm, as it moved onshore in Collier County, down near Naples and Marco Island, and moved northward, it maintained its circulation over land, and that cut off its support of energy, and the end result has been a weakening storm ever since then. And that has benefited us to a certain extent in that it's a less strong storm than it could have been. The worst case scenario would have been it coming across the Keys, staying in the Gulf, and then turning onshore here. So this could have been much worse. There's a little closer view, and you can see the rain bands that have been spreading through the night across the area, and that little decaying area where there's a lack of rainfall, still some lingering clouds, but a little bit quieter on the south side of this. This center right here is just the center of lower pressure in this storm that's becoming less organized. So we're not looking at an eye wall or a core of extremely strong winds near the center. That wind field is spread out quite a bit. Here's the latest information, though. Max winds estimated 75. I think if that's experienced, it's probably going to be in the coastal waters, moving north-northwest at 18. So it's moving faster now now, and because of that, we get it out of here sooner. But look at the area in green, indicating tropical storm force winds 39 plus miles per hour. That extends up into southern Georgia, and we're still seeing wind gusts of tropical storm force in sections of southern Florida. So because of the size of this wind field, we're not going to be done with the wind over the next hour or two. It's going to be prolonged for a good portion of our day today. So there's our position now. The system pushing up into southern Georgia by early afternoon. And as it does so, things will improve for us gradually. But as we get into the afternoon, then we start to pick up a wind coming off of the Gulf, and that's why we start to talk about the potential for storm surge flooding along the Gulf Coast, and low-lying areas will be dealing with that as we go later on into the day. But overall, I think the rain ends earlier. There'll still be some shower bands that may come through later on today, but the bulk of the heavier stuff ending over the next few hours, but the wind staying with us, gradually subsiding.
All right, Mike, thank you so much. And looks like we have another Mike joining us here as Mike New, the city manager of the city of Newberry, is joining us now. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Tracy.
Now, I know this is a hard question to answer, but do you have an assessment of how much damage has been reported in Newberry so far?
No, not really. We pulled our crews in about 8 o'clock last night, and so the only reports we would get are coming from folks that were calling into our call center, maybe power outages. So we probably have minimal amount of damage reported to date.
Now, you mentioned you pulled your crews in last night at 8. Do you have any time that you're expecting them to be back out?
Just once it's safe to do so, we'll begin assessment as soon as the winds die down below 35 miles per hour sustained.
Okay. Anything else you want to add for the residents there in Newberry?
That we'll get on it as quickly as we can, and whatever the restoration effort is required, we'll start that ASAP, and hopefully we'll complete it ASAP.
Sounds good. Now, what about a number that your residents can call for non-emergency questions?
It is published. There's an 855 number. I can't tell you.
Sorry, I put you on the spot this morning. I apologize.
It's published on our social media, on our Facebook page. Anybody could go to the City of Newberry's Facebook page, or the number to City Hall is 472-2161. It should roll over to our call center.
All right, Mike, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Stay safe out there in Newberry. And we have thousands of North Central Florida residents without power as of this morning. As of 6 this morning, GRU has over 30,000 customers without power. FPL has reported over 35,000. Duke's reporting over 40,000 customers without power. Ocala Electric over 35,000 this morning. Clay Electric reporting over 118,000. That's 2/3 of their customers. And Central Florida Electric over 21,000 customers without power. Also, Seco has over 27,000 customers without power. And we spoke to Katie Honeycutt, the PIO of the city of Ocala, and she explained how everyone can contact Ocala Electric Utility.
Approximately 28,000 crews are on their way to Florida to assist all the local utilities with their restoration efforts across the state. And again, like I mentioned, our crews are going to be working around the clock diligently once it's safe to get power restored to our customers, again, as quickly and as safely as possible. Yes, if any of our customers are getting outages, we're encouraging them to call 352-351-6666 to report their outages. They're welcome to visit outages.ocalafl.org to view current outages in our area.
And we'd like to let you know that should you lose power and can't watch us on air, it's still possible to hear our coverage as we'll be broadcasting live on 2 local radio stations, WLQH 93.3 FM and 940 AM in Chiefland, as well as WZCC 1240 AM in Cross City. We'll be simultaneously broadcasting our coverage so you can stay aware of what's going on in the North Central Florida area throughout Hurricane Irma. And Marion County has announced a curfew beginning today, September 11th at 10 p.m., running until 6 Tuesday morning. Exceptions to the curfew are first responders, utility workers, medical personnel, and necessary government employees and representatives. The curfew is in place so emergency crews can assess damage from Hurricane Irma. Now, after the initial assessment, the county will decide if the curfew should be extended. Now, although UF canceled classes, the campus is open for those seeking shelter. The university opened 2 campus facilities to evacuees for Hurricane Irma's arrival. Southwest Recreation Center and the Steinbrenner Band Building opened its doors to students and evacuees. UF President Kent Fox says consideration is being taken into account for Irma.
I think together, I know that we can take care of each other and we indeed will be safe. Our community, our state, and the university are just as prepared as they possibly could be. So I ask everybody to, number 1, keep yourself safe, and number 2, look out for each other.
UF classes will be canceled on Wednesday, but employees will need to report for work. And now to the high water and winds that pounded historic Key West. Tales of terror and survival from a region that's no stranger to terrible storms. Here's ABC's Amy Robach.
Devastation in Key West after a direct hit from Hurricane Irma. Water swallowing streets. Overnight, power lines sparking. Many who stayed behind, like Zach Zilkakis, now in the dark.
We're not sure what's out there. We're not sure what we're going to see when we open the door.
That wind like a freight train.
You can hear it with this is through concrete buildings, through shutters and through the door, and that wind's blowing.
He's huddling with friends and family on the 3rd floor of a condo.
Our fear was storm surge, so life jackets, generator. We boarded up. We have a radio. We have, a total of 20 cases of water.
Up in Key Largo, David Kay hunkered down, documenting Irma's wrath.
We're doing all right. We're survived.
Water starting to flood outside his home. A few hours later, that property underwater.
Maybe 6 or 8 inches going up to the top.
All right, we'll be right back with more Hurricane Irma coverage. Keep it right here.